Okay, viewers, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have finally spoken on the phone, setting the stage for a massive shift in the Ukraine war. The chaos of the past 3 years is reaching its breaking point, and Zelensky is now teetering on the edge. With Trump's presidency tightening the screws on Kyiv and Zelensky throwing out reckless NATO comments, the reality is sinking in. Ukraine sees the writing on the wall, and let's be blunt here, Zelensky is likely plotting his grand exit now. What happens next? Well, expect a turmoil, because his own MPs are turning away. The world isn't buying his act anymore, and Ukraine could be heading for a collapse, reminiscent of the Taliban saga. Zelensky will be history within the next 3-4 months if the things continue at this pace. Just a few days ago, the Ukrainian parliament failed to pass a resolution affirming democracy in Ukraine as it faces the ongoing Ukraine war. The Golos MP Yaroslav Zelensky reported on 24th of February. The resolution, numbered 13,039, secured only 218 votes, falling short of the required majority, that is 226. The document asserted that both Verkhovna Rada and the President Vladimir Zelensky are democratically elected through the transparent election recognized by the international community. It also emphasized that the Russian President Vladimir Putin is solely responsible for the inability to conduct the democratic election in Ukraine due to the ongoing war. However, Zelensky's own MPs backed out of the proposal. Acknowledging the martial law, however, the draft resolution stated that elections cannot be held under the current condition and affirmed that Ukrainian people are committed to the democracy once the war ends. Now, establishing the democracy in Ukraine is something that Donald Trump wants to happen. But the thing is that Zelensky is quite against the motion, as he doesn't want this war to end on a peace deal. The parliament meanwhile also stressed the importance of institutional continuity, with Zelensky continuing his duty until a new president is elected. However, this draft resolution failed in the first motion. However, some hook and crook methods were applied later on so that the resolution was passed a day later. Now, this resolution comes amid the international discourse on Ukrainian leadership. The US President Donald Trump has claimed that Zelensky's approval rating is just 4%. Yes, just 4%, and Kyiv's International Institute of Sociology places Zelensky at 57% of the approval. Now, this is still very low compared to him and his approval rating when it was at an all-time high of 84% during the start of the Ukraine war. Zelensky dismissed Trump's remarks as disinformation, stating that the elections during wartime will be dangerous. But yes, he expressed his willingness to step down if he gets a peace deal as per his will and a NATO membership. But hey Zelensky, what is your excuse to deny the fact that your own MPs didn't want you anymore? Why is your former best friend after you? Kyiv's Mayor Vitaly Klitschko has also voiced his opposition to certain policies of Zelensky administration. He criticized this proposed mineral deal between Ukraine and the US as unfair due to its term requiring Ukraine to surrender half of its rare earth minerals in exchange of the security guarantees. Zelensky was ready to do so with Biden, but with Trump, this is a very big issue. Well, if you see, since 2022, Zelensky's government has consolidated Ukrainian television outlets and has also dissolved the rival political parties. Actions that have drew criticism for potentially stifling the dissent and limiting the media plurality. These measures were justified by the Ukrainian leadership as necessary for national security and the Russian invasion, but the critics argue that they undermine the democratic principle and has suppressed the legitimate political opposition largely. The ongoing war has intensified the political dynamics too, with opposition figures increasingly critical of Zelensky administration. His own MPs are now backing out. The accusation of overreach, such as imposing travel restriction on MPs and consolidating power within the close circle of allies, has fueled debates about the balance between national security and democratic freedom. Make no mistake, viewers, Zelensky's grip on the power is shifting, and the cracks are widening faster than ever. Now, with Trump and Putin in direct talk and back on the peace deal, the global chessboard is shifting and Kyiv is running out of moves. Zelensky's own allies are turning on him. His critics are growing louder, and his dream of clinging to power is fading day by day. The failed parliamentary vote, the opposition from his own MPs, and the increasing scrutiny over his past decisions all point to one thing: Zelensky's days in office are just numbered. and the clock is ticking faster than ever before.